South Carolina Senator Tim Scott was hit with a barrage of racist attacks following his rebuttal address to President Biden's speech last week. Among other slurs, he was called a tap dancer, and the term Uncle Tim even trended on Twitter for hours. The phenomenon wasn't limited to random trolls on the internet. One Democratic Party official named Gary O'Connor wrote on Facebook, quote, "I had hoped that Scott might show some common sense, but it seems clear he is little more than an Oreo with no real principles." O'Connor later apologized for the remark and offered his resignation, which Democrats refused to accept. Guess it's okay to use racial slurs as long as it's against Republicans. The move prompted Chairman of the Texas GOP Allen West to speak out. Watch.
When you want to talk about institutionalized racism, when you want to talk about the systemic racism and the purveyors thereof, it's the Democrat Party. They have always been. They never voted for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. They are the party of Jim Crow. They are the party of segregation, of slavery. And now, thanks to the soft bigotry of low expectations, they're the party that sees independent thinking black men and women as a threat. Oreos, Uncle Tom, House N-word, you know what I'm talking about. They're the real sellouts.
Joining us right now is the chairman of the Texas GOP, Allen West. Chairman West, good to see you.
Good to be with you, Buck. Thank you.
I appreciate the short history lesson you were giving about the Democrat Party overall. What do you make of the fact that there was really very little media coverage or certainly outrage about the fact that a Republican senator who is black was maligned publicly in this way by so many people across the internet? It feels like if he had been a Democrat, there would be a need for a conversation on race across the nation. We didn't see that, Chairman West.
No, you didn't. As a matter of fact, if it had been the opposite direction, it would have been all over your mainstream media, all over any news outlet, and there would have been calls for said person to resign. I remember what they talked about with Steve King, the congressman from Iowa, forcing him to resign and all the chatter about that. But what has really happened, Buck, is that the white progressive socialist left has been enabled by black Democrats to go after black conservatives. When you have someone like Joe Biden, when he was running for office, who said that if you're black, well, if you are black and you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So in other words, we don't even exist. We're not even recognized. And so therefore, a person like Gary O'Connor can use a very vile, very denigrating and disparaging racist slur against a sitting United States senator on an open social media platform. And the Democrats say, hey, it's okay. Just stay in your position. We'll just let this thing pass by, because they accept any type of racism against those people that don't believe in them and believe in their ideology. We are to them exactly what Gary O'Connor said.
How is it that the media also normalizes what is a clear double standard here in racist attacks on black Americans who happen to be conservative? They don't reach anywhere near the levels of outrage that they would, as you point out, if it were in the other direction, politically speaking. How can we fight back against this? I mean, what are the options at our disposal to try to show that there's something very insidious at work here with the framework that black Americans are put into by the Democrat Party and the mainstream media?
Well, the thing is that they have been emboldened because over time, no one has ever stood up to them on this. I remember Condoleezza Rice when she was the Secretary of State or National Security Advisor, and the whole thing was about uranium tubes and nuclear weapons and what have you. And the Washington Post put out there a very nasty cartoon of her being in mammy uniform saying, "I knows nothing about birthing tubes." But nothing was ever done. So over time, going after Clarence Thomas, disrespecting and disregarding people like a Herman Cain or Thomas Sowell or Walter Williams or Shelby Steele. Look at how they, treat black conservatives like myself. I've been called white man's porch monkey on social media platforms. And if there is never any consequence, then they just become even more emboldened. And what happened here in Lamar County was that the Democrats went to, quote unquote, the black Democrats and got permission so that, him using a racist slur against Senator Tim Scott, they feel that it was okay. And they got their permission from the blacks that they do recognize and respect, black Democrats.